And here is a summary of what you should expect across when you're an explorer. Mindset should be that, hey, you're curious, but you just don't know where to start. That is your mindset. If you're applying for companies, don't apply for anything just yet, because the moment that you apply, you go into the application tracking systems, you get rejected, and you lose a lead. As part of this phase, there are 8 things you must learn. The first thing is knowledge. Second thing is product thinking. Third thing is portfolio. You got to build up a portfolio for it. Fourth is execution. And then the tools that you have to learn as a product manager. And these are not software tools. These are like lean canvases and frameworks, elevator pitches. And then you learn about them. And then you got to start networking, branding for yourself, and then support. And these 8 things are consistent across every single one of this stage, except that it's just different type of constraint that you have to solve in order for you to move on to the next stage. So for example, for knowledge, you actually want to study. So what do? First thing you do is you want to read a book by Marty Kagan or Escape the Bill Trap by Melissa Perry. You can learn from self-paced courses like what we offer right now at Product Academy or from others. So this is about self-paced learning. And if you don't like Marty, if you don't like my course, you don't like Melissa Perry, that's fine. Replace it with something else. Replace it with an instructor or a coach that you can relate to, that you can learn from. But just make sure that this person that you're learning from has experience, not some sort of agile coach or like someone that's got no product experience in teaching product. Be careful of that. The next thing you want to do is learn the product thinking. Is you want to complete some sort of self-paced learning platform, some sort of self-paced learning on product management foundations. So one of those areas are understanding product strategy, understanding product lifecycle, understanding assumption mapping, and so on. These are the bread and butter of product management craft. So learn that and go through it. From a portfolio perspective, you want to start to dissect a product strategy. We call this like product teardown, where you actually look at a product and you think about what market is it solving, what customer is it solving, what's the business model, and so on. That's called product teardown. Then you want to do some quizzes, analysis, and really apply the learning that you have from the self-paced course and the books that you read into something that's more practical. And again, you're doing this by yourself with a little notebook or Notion page, and you learn that. Then as you are building out your knowledge, you should start using some of the product management software out there to capture that knowledge. A product manager's job, they use a lot of tools like Notion pages, Confluence, Google Docs to write PRDs, to write product requirement documents, or Mirror Page. So whilst you are learning, use roadmap tools like Product Board, AHA, Product Plan, help you understand and learn the tools itself by doing a product teardown, by doing some sort of self-paced learning through the product strategy course and so on. So yeah, that's the key. And then as part of this journey, you would definitely come across other tools like lean canvases, elevator pitches, assumption mapping, and so on. So utilize that. So that's basically the knowledge and skill part. And this is very self-paced. So you learn this yourself. You don't have to tell anyone about it, just learn it because you're still exploring. Like you might be doing this and you're like, oh, you know what? This is not the right job for me. I'm not going to do this anymore. And that's fine. Once you learn the knowledge, then this gives you a reason to add product managers on LinkedIn. You can go to product managers and say, hey, I'm learning how to use Product Board and I'm stuck at it. Can you need some help? Or I've got a question about Lean Canvas that I've been trying to learn to validate a product idea. How do I do that? Use these learning as a way to connect with product managers. And your goal in the network here is to add 10 product managers on LinkedIn, comment on the post, engage in communities, and use this learning path as a way to engage with product people. From a branding perspective, because no one knows that you're exploring product management, you should update your LinkedIn headline to some sort of product branding. So you can be a product designer, product engineer, product analyst, product whatever. So just add that to your LinkedIn. Honestly, no one really cares because LinkedIn, it's just a tool for you to reach out to people. If people look at your profile and they see some sort of product there, they will think, oh, you're learning product, I should connect with you. And the last part is go join some Slack groups, Discord groups, and community groups. And is what I will share with you in the product breaking into product blueprint from me. I give you the step-by-step guide of how to do it. And what I just showed you in the presentation is exactly the constraints and the wins. All of these constraints and wins, you can actually replace it yourself. So you can add in the extra line. If you don't want to read Marty Kagan, that's fine. Read something else. Read what's a good product book? Lean Product Playbook. That's a good book from Dan Olson, I believe. Let me Google this stuff. Here it is, from Dan Olson. Another great book, right? If you don't like to read Marty's stuff because it's a bit polarizing, read Dan's stuff, right? So let me just go back to this. And then once you are on this, I have a bunch of links and resources over here on the links and resources tab, where you can actually go through and look at all the networks and then get all the tools and all the books that you choose. And that is basically it. And I'll go back and I'll talk about more of how you can use this tracker in a second, but let's go back. So now that we're back to the slide. So the bottom line here is that you're invisible and inactive. To graduate, to get out of the explorer stage, what you must do is you got to start learning in public, publish your first signal, and start to connect with others. And that's a very good path if you're exploring the role. And what the success looks like in this stage. The goal at this stage is to get from not being visible to visible and intentional. You're not trying to land a job just yet, so don't apply for roles just yet, but you're building a foundation that allows you to stand out and building the network of product managers that can potentially refer you in the future. The 10 contacts that you have right now probably does not mean much to you at this stage, but it's a connection and it's a DM away from a potential job opportunity in the future. Think of this as your product discovery process where you're talking to customers, right? And your customers haven't bought a product yet, and you have a direct line of contact to them whenever you want to sell them a product in the future. And here's a few things to remember during this stage. You don't need permission to start learning. You can just go and just do it. The second thing to remember is that make sure your learning is public, even if it's messy. So make sure you are sharing what you're learning, you're doing this in public, you're creating a brand for yourself. Focus on understanding how product managers think rather than the tools itself. Now, the tools itself is important, right? So don't lose track of that. Tools itself is important. The process is important. But what's more important is learning how product people think. That's what you get hired for, not from executing on the tools or like following a process, is the perspective. And also you want to create some sort of public proof of effort. So a product teardown, a spec, PRD, some sort of roadmap, some sort of tool. So do that. As you're doing it, use tools like Miro to capture what you got to do. Miro, Notion, Google Docs, link canvases, assumption maps, and so on. Also use this opportunity as you're exploring as a chance to network. And as you build up your contact over time, that's when you can get your referral circle to be bigger and bigger. And also update your LinkedIn so you can show that you're on a journey. So like product engineer, product designer, product analyst. If you're doing this in stealth mode, you don't have to update it. That's fine. But it does help when you can do this in public. And last thing is, don't do this alone. A lot of the time I see people exploring this stage doing this alone by themselves. Ideally, you should find an accountability buddy, someone that's maybe in Product Academy, someone that's probably in a meetup that you met, someone that can come on this journey with you. So you're not doing this alone and you're both exploring product roles together. That's going to be super helpful to help you navigate through the process and share learning.